Good morning, everyone. Welcome to KBC. And good morning to everyone who is online watching today. We are in the middle of celebrating the Tibetan New Year, Losar, and it will conclude on Tuesday with closing practices in the evening at 7:30. Everyone is welcome. Seven. Thank you. So happy Losar, happy Tibetan New Year, the year of the fire horse. This morning we have Khenpo Karze. Morning, Khenpo. Who will be teaching us and allowing for questions at the end. Khenpo is here at the wish of Her Eminence, that's Lama, our teacher. And so there'll be time for questions and answers at the end. And also following that, we have a short practice that we close with. And that is a practice that is the Buddha of compassion. And so we recite the Buddha, his mantra, Hum Kri, together at the end, and then we'll close. So just let us know what that is.
Yes. Sanji Jedo Zoji Jono, Junju Vadan, Jesuji Dagi, Soji, Chinola. Sanji Jedo Zoji Jono, Junju Vadan, Sanji Jedo Zoji Jono. Shanju Vadan, Jesuji Dagi, Soji Ves. Jola Venji Sanji Drobo, Sanjin Donji Dewa, the Division, Dimboji, Donga, Judon, Judon, maybe Dewa, Dambadam. Nirin Jadon, you don't drive it, Donim Jambala, never George, Sanjin Tamje, Dewa, the Division, Dimbaji, Judon, Judon, Donga, maybe Dewa, Dambadam, and Rawaji, Nirin Jadon, you don't drive it, Donim Jambala, never George, Sanjin Tamje, Dewa, the Division, Dimbaji, Donga, Judon. Donga maybe Dewa, Dambadam, and Rawaji, Nirin Jadon, you don't drive it, Donim Jambala, never George, Kangi Tinjin, Jawan, Jungapa, maybe Jimmy, Cheba, maybe Tom. Wame Bandro Meba Tade Temen, Tenjim, Trapani, Yushin, Zobe, Sanji Manan, Domba Delan, Shanzo, Lo, Wajitu, Benjim, Bamala, Sipazon, Tutin, Bidema Bella Dada. Pemano Visual also on the Lasso. Good morning, and also welcome to Sunday meditation and instruction class. And last time I think we discussed on about generating bodhicitta, mind, or awakening mind. So there's many different ways we can generate bodhicitta, and the most important or most common in Buddhist or those masters explained about how to generate bodhicitta. So then most of the masters explain it with generating bodhicitta mind with four immeasurable. Tsemeshi in the Tibetan, we call Tsemeshi. Love, kindness, compassion, and joyful, and equanimity. So those are the four immeasurable. So we can generate bodhicitta mind with those four immeasurable. So each of when we are doing generating bodhicitta mind, then we can find many each of those, I think, three differences and categories how we can generate bodhicitta mind. Is it? Yeah, so last time we talked about on the loving kindness, and also, yeah, so of course it's important, someone who can teach us how to meditate or how to learn how to generate bodhicitta mind, So to find a genuine, teacher or spiritual teacher, sometimes we call spiritual teacher, or spiritual leader. Yeah, so it's important, to find a genuine, a good teacher, So then there's one question, how do we find a good teacher or spiritual leader, or spiritual teacher? Then Jowoji, Atisha, you know the Atisha? Yeah, most of female or kasa, familiar, this name, he's so, famous in Tibet or in India, he is the master, So he taught about what kasa, the spiritual teacher should be kasa, endowed some qualities, but also, in the sutra, mention it, the spiritual teacher or leader, what kind of that teacher need qualities. So in the Choji Padi Adisha, he actually spoke clearly, one by one, about how to identify a spiritual teacher, Then he taught about, I think, 8 different things, but most important is first three, qualities are the main, he mentioned it actually. One is that the spiritual teacher should be a scholar or wise. Then Zumba. Then second one is the spiritual teacher should be in discipline. And then Yuan which means qualities. Yeah, Yuan I think qualities. But when he mentioned it, what kind of scholar and also Zumba, what kind of a discipline, and then qualities, he said actually, the supreme among the wise or scholar is one who has realized the meaning of selflessness. The teacher or spiritual leader or teacher should be actually realized the selflessness. That one is the most important, Kepa. Sometimes we call Kepa, which means scholar or wise. Yeah. So then second one is Zumba, which means that's discipline actually. So whether that teacher is a lay person or ordained, it doesn't matter, But the person who claimed themselves as a spiritual teacher then should be in discipline. There is a different way that those teacher or masters how they in discipline in different vows, So there's a Shavaka vows, Bodhisattva vows, and then of course tantric vows. So it's also important. Then Yunten, which means qualities. Then he said, supreme of all qualities is a great altruistic intention. Yeah, Pensendemba, which means that a spiritual leader or spiritual teacher should be always think, other living beings, not by self actually. So these three are actually main qualities of spiritual leader. Is it? Kepa, Zumba, Zangba. So in the Tibetan we call Ke, Zun, Zang. So three qualities of spiritual teachers. So within these three, then we can find also so many good qualities actually. So in a scholar, we can find that the teacher should be, knowledge about or the five major fields, So then also in the Zumba, which means disciplined, actually. Yeah. Then according to Sharvaka vows, then you can find, the kasa, defeats or what we call faults, like 253 something, different faults you can find. So that spiritual teacher should be, kept all those faults. We can say Sharvaka vows, never be in a stint, slightly, those faults actually. Then of course, then Bodhisattva vows, like, um, we the kasa in the text or sutra, it's said actually, 18 downfall actually, the Bodhisattva vows. So then tantric vows, of course, in Tantra, in Tantra teachings, you can find so many, categories. 6 categories, but all common, Samaya is actually 14 downfall, actually. So those are the main, faults that we have to keep or from those faults when we take or when we took vows, whether it's Shavaka vows or Bodhisattva or Tantric vows. So we need, keep our vows carefully, So someone who can, keep like that way, then I think that person we can call spiritual, leader or spiritual teacher. So sometimes, they explain that like that way. And then also, in the sutra, they said actually 11 qualities of, spiritual leader. So there's many different, explanation about spiritual teacher, But of course, it's important to find, spiritual teacher, but then also, and the student of a self needs some, qualities, whether, we can able to find that kind of teacher or able to receive the teachings, able to practice about Dharma, So of course, teachers are also important. But more than that, yourself is so important. because normally, generally, I mean, all the people or the normal people always, judging others only, don't look to yourself. I mean, to ourselves, we don't trying to, find yourself or trying to find what is your position of a self. I mean, it's sometimes like that, So then in the sutra also said, if there is actually the spiritual leader or spiritual teachers need some qualities, then also the students also need some qualities, So both, spiritual teacher or students, both sides need some qualities. Then I think we can make a connection with the spiritual teacher if we have that kind of qualities. Without those qualities, then it's difficult to find a teacher and to receive the teachings, So 仙业, which means give 仙业, spiritual leader or spiritual teacher. 仙业 Dua means actually in discipline, actually. Then Shiva means actually always, peaceful, the teacher. When we saw teacher, then we feel, teacher always looks like, peaceful. Peaceful means not having a slightest or a single affliction emotions towards her or his students or other living beings, like hatred, jealousies, So those are the actually main important. So in a sutra actually said being disciplined and being peaceful and being calmed, and then of course there's possessing qualities superior to the student, then being endowed with joyful diligence, being learned in a scriptural and reasoning, and then being realized suchness, which is the scholar or wise, the suchness, which means, being realized, selflessness or emptiness. So this is, so important. Those who claimed or those we believe the teacher or spiritual teacher, whether they have this kind of knowledge or this kind of wisdom, then of course loving kindness, which is also very important, The teacher who doesn't have loving kindness towards students or towards all the living beings, then I think that teacher or guider or guide, I think it's difficult to Karze, to bring right path to the students, So loving kindness is so important. Then of course compassion. So and then of course then being free from weariness. So those are the teacher's qualities. Okay. Then of course right now we are talking about the compassion. So we are generating bodhicitta mind with the compassion, which is actually good qualities of a spiritual teacher or a spiritual student. So we both side need this kind of, mindset or positive thoughts. So then compassion. Then here we are talking about compassion. The senjin tamche dewa. Then senjin tamche dunga. The compassion, when we talk about compassion, then we said, may all sentient being free from suffering. So we have to focus on, when we are generating compassion, then we have to, focus on other living beings suffering, not other living beings joyful or happiness. Because when we are generating our bodhicitta mind with the loving kindness, then of course we have to focus on happiness. It doesn't matter temporary happiness or long-lasting happiness, but it's important to have the commitment that I will bring long-lasting happiness to all these sentient beings. But we need to focus on long-lasting happiness, but sometimes it's difficult to focus on that. Then it doesn't matter, if we can focus on just a temporary happiness, also okay. Yeah. Why we choose, because long-lasting happiness? Because long-lasting happiness is more, benefit, and more powerful than the temporary happiness. Yeah. So that is the reason when we're talking about loving kindness, then we have to focus on long-lasting happiness. Then when we're talking about the compassion, then we have to focus on sentient beings, suffering. All the sentient beings have different kind of, suffering, which is we can talking in so many, textbook, the four foundation. In four foundation, there is, the suffering. We have to need, focus on all the six realms in suffering, actually. Then we have to focus each and every sentient beings, individual or in a general kasa suffering things. So through that, then we can how to say feel, or we can renunciation, renunciation for from samsara or what? Yeah. So because we want is escape from samsara. Why? Because samsara is, with full of suffering, So we don't want that kind of suffering, every and each rebirth, Yeah. So we have to, escape from that place. So from that kasa, escape from samsara is not easy, Yeah, not really easy. And also, we have to really need that kind of, renunciation. Renounced or renunciation? Renunciation. Yeah. So once we have that kind of, renunciation, then we can apply some antidote, or we can generate some genuine, path. So through that, path and practice, then we can, escape from the samsara, escape from the suffering, actually. Yeah. So then, of course, escape from samsara or escape from the samsara's suffering, then we have to be kepa, which means scholar in every different field field field, sorry. Yeah, there is actually 10 different fields, okay? But in that, it's most important is to learn about the genuine path, which is actually Nangden Rigpa, which we call Buddhist philosophy, actually. Yeah, of course, in that as a major or a minor field, we can find some like arts and drama and dancing, kind of like that also. But those are it's related with the worldly, system. But most important is Nangden Ripa, which is Buddhist philosophy. So once we get chance to learn about the Buddhist philosophy, then we can improve ourselves. We can improve our wisdom, and then we can investigate on what is the real or what is the fake. Or sometimes we can say Four Noble Truth, We can learn about Four Noble Truth. That is, so important, Without learn about Four Noble Truth, it's difficult to have, the wisdom which we can see selfless or emptiness without learning Four Noble Truth. So then if we don't have that kind of wisdom, selflessness or emptiness to knowing, then I think we can't remove all the suffering. We can't escape from the samsara. So then it's said, Nagarjuna, actually Nagarjuna said, the main antidote of any kind of affliction emotions or any kind of obstacle is actually to knowing the truth, to knowing the emptiness. Yeah, so that's the reason each and every path, Bodhisattva's path. So there is 10 different paths. So you can find 10 different, wisdom. Because each path have different obstacles, different, affliction, emotions. So according to that, each path need, different antidote. So that is actually to knowing emptiness or to knowing selflessness. So through the selflessness, through the knowing the emptiness, then I think we can escape from samsara or we can escape from suffering actually. Yeah. So there's always those bodhisattvas are saying when you reach the first bhumi, then there's no differences between wisdom of selflessness or wisdom of emptiness and compassion, love, kindness. So every practice, when we reach this states like, first bhumi, from the first bhumi to the Buddhahood, we can say like that, okay? So in those, practices, it's actually, we cannot actually make a difference, which is love, kindness, which is kasa, wisdom actually. Wisdom which knowing about emptiness, So there is actually no differences. But below that, we can find always difference in compassion mind, what we call that, to knowing the emptiness, wisdom. Yeah. So below the first bhumi, we can find always, differences in compassion or love, kindness, and wisdom. Then above that, there is always unite. Unite, like when we mix milk with tea or milk with water, after that we cannot actually separate, There's, unite or what? Mix it? Yeah, people cannot actually find, this is water, this is milk. So similar like that. Above, first bhumi to Buddha, there's no differences in between, compassion and wisdom. The below that, we of course, we can find always differences in between that. So this is the one reason from the first bhumi, those bodhisattva actually already escaped from samsara or from suffering. Why? Because they already have Karze generated or already have that kind of wisdom, which already, realized or knowing the emptiness or selflessness. So one is the reason. So this is, important, but like below the first bhumi, so we can think about the emptiness or impermanence with compassion and loving kindness. So that's why it's said loving kindness, compassion only cannot actually remove all the obstacles. Once we generate bodhicitta, then of course we need to think about also impermanence or about emptiness too. Yeah, but in our capacity, so cannot actually apply and loving kindness or compassion with emptiness, unite. But Rinpoche, one by one, we can say like that. Yeah, one by one, of course, we can generate, First, we can think about the loving kindness and compassion. Then after that, we can think about all the phenomena are actually impermanence or emptiness. There is no such thing, stay forever, It doesn't matter actually, like those mountains or those earth actually stay, so many years. But it's keep changing actually, yeah. So we can think like that way. Then once we, achieve first bhumi, then there's always, together. Method and wisdom is always same, always, what we call unite. So compassion, so we need to think about all the living beings suffering, okay? So just think about like that, with the hell realms are suffering and humans suffering, animals are suffering. There's a different, we can, focus on suffering, We can see so many, these days especially, So think about that. Then, kasor, to generate, compassion to all living beings and free those, sufferings, and also then causes of suffering. The causes of suffering is always, we can say, three poisons, So marikpa is ignorance. Ignorance is actually opposite of selflessness. Is it? Yeah. Or we can say wisdom. So if you have, wisdom, then there is no, place of, ignorance. Like when the kasa, like when, like we can say night and day. When kasa, or sometimes we can say in a dark place. In that place, if we, put some light or electrician, so it's bring, bright, similar like that. So once we can generate our wisdom or whatever with, those practices actually, so then you can, slowly we can develop our wisdom to knowing the truth about all the phenomena, So, so this is important. But when we talk about the compassion, then there is a genuine compassion, which is, all sentient beings actually have that kind of compassion. But this, generating compassion with, bodhicitta, it's different than the, common, compassion, Common compassion, which means like, those animals, also have, compassion each other, So they also feel, that their father or mother or kids, suffering. This compassion is not just that, like that, This compassion, so we are focusing on all the living beings are suffering, So then those suffering you want to actually remove, So then said, how it would be nice if future I can help all those living beings are suffering, take away those sufferings from those living beings. So we need to think like that, Then generate bodhicitta mind with compassion. So it's also kasa. So powerful, okay? So this is one of, so last week I taught, there is a few things that we can find generate the kasa mind or compassion, okay? Immeasurable compassion. Also, three categories, okay? First one is compassion. Of course, the compassion directed direct to all sentient beings. So this compassion is just, common, okay? Focus just as simply on sentient beings, not kasa, without, qualifying any knowing about impermanence or emptiness, without qualifying them by either subtle or gross impermanence or kasa, selflessness or emptiness. This is a common, generating compassion mind, okay? So this kind of mind is also important, but more than that, compassion, generate compassion with knowing something, truth. That is actually, it's said, compassion direct towards Dharma. Okay, that this is the actual compassionate thought, how pitiful those beings are, how sad, we can say like that, pity or sad, how sad, because all the living beings are under the kept or caught under the power of the ignorance or those negative thoughts or emotions, affliction emotions, we can say like that. So through that we can think, all the living beings are, like that, so it's sad, if someone can karsa, knowing about the emptiness or impermanence, or we can say the truth of all the phenomena. So then that person can actually benefit for so many beings through his teaching, through his practicing, through his explanation, So that is the reason when sometimes we say like that, why? Sometimes we in the debate, okay, we say Sanje is actually Buddha, okay? Why he is Buddha? Shakyamuni, okay, he is Buddha because first he himself learn about the Four Noble Truth, learn it and reflection and meditate again, again. So after that, his wisdom or his, what do we call the thoughts or mind, improved or accomplishment what he wanted, So then through that he can meditate again and again. Then he is able to remove all the negative thoughts. So through that process, through that process, that we sometimes we call king of Shakya family. He able to receive, Buddhahood. So through that process, if he can achieve Buddhahood, then all the living beings can do, So then he taught about the Four Noble Truth after he achieved Buddhahood, the way he came from Kasa, the path, which is, the if all the living beings can follow that path, then all living beings can achieve Buddhahood. So that is the reason he taught about the Four Noble Truth, So that is the reason the Shaja, the Kasa, princess of Shaja family, why we call he is a Buddha, because he know Kasa, realized, selflessness, or realized all the phenomena, truth, through that he Kasa, achieve the Buddhahood. So for that process, if Kasa, those like us, all the living beings, if go through that process, then every sentient beings can achieve Buddhahood. So that is the reason. Then every sentient being has seeds of Buddhahood. Sometimes we call Buddhahood. Yeah. So every sentient being can achieve Buddhahood if we process in that way. Okay, the way Buddha himself, went through those process. Is it? Maybe, yeah. Yeah, but it's a take time. Then second one is like that, okay? So we have to think how sad or how pity all living beings, all sentient beings, because we are lack of that kind of wisdom, to knowing the truth. So which focused all sentient beings as qualified by the impermanence of Kasa, momentary Kasa, disintegration, disintegration, okay, sorry. Yet who mistakenly cling to the permanent as if it were stable. So we are like that, always, clinging or always holding. So we are thinking, that every, phenomena is, always looks same. Yesterday we saw, and today we saw, and then next, tomorrow we will see. So someone said, see you tomorrow. Yeah. The see you tomorrow, which means in your mind, the person which you are going to see next day, the persons and today's person in our mind is the same, We are holding these two are same. So actually, yeah. So it's not same, Yeah, if we thought if this is the same person, then that person never going to be changed, actually. Okay? If we say, I'm the when I was, sometimes we say, when I was young, is it? That young baby, if today's adult or like us is the same, then today we saw each other are different than when you were a kid. So it's a different, not same. So that is actually true, when we say, the system of reality. Okay? So, but our mind always thinking like that, okay? So, not only that, to human, so everything which we saw, the house and dress and places like, so always, keep changing. So that kind of mind, we should always, practice, think about the impermanence or emptiness. So then through that, we can achieve, something, never before, like, the achieve Buddhahood, achieve Bodhisattva. So this is, main important. So it's a saying like that. So we have to think. So those sentient beings are lack of that kind of a wisdom, So then that's why we are always, in suffering. We cannot escape from the samsara. Why? We are lack of the wisdom. So feel that, then we can focus on all the sentient beings, different kind of, suffering. So this is the means kasa. One, and then third one is mikpa mepa, which means non-referential compassion. Okay. So this is, I think, very high level, practice or high level topic actually. Yeah, of course, once we realized emptiness, then it's easy to apply this kind of, compassion, non-referential compassion. This is the compassion that focuses on sentient beings as qualified by their emptiness of true existence. So then, yet who continue to grasp at the non-existent as if it were truly real. So it's so these three are the actually categories of generating kasa mind with the compassion. Okay. So there's three different way we can apply compassion. So one is just a common, and one is with the, thinking like that. Chula mikpa, which means focus on. If we translate, kasa direct, then it becomes like, focusing on Dharma. But that is not proper, translated. The focusing on Dharma, which means the people who always, hold all the phenomena are look same or feel kasa staying forever, kind of like that. Okay. Yeah, so it's a difficult, so this is, compassion, how to regenerate, okay? Bodhicitta mind with the compassion. Think about it in like that way, just focusing on all the living beings are suffering. Then just think, one day, if I able to, help those living beings, get rid of all the kind of suffering, that will be so nice. And then, of course, the causes of suffering, which is three poisons, So the main causes is three poisons. Then through that, then so many different, we can find, different causes, conditions. Yeah. It makes sense? Yeah, mikpa. Mikpa, which means, yeah, I think so. Mikpa is just focus, object, or focus on something. Then number is a different, way, different thinking. Conceptual. Sometimes we can say conceptual. Yeah, because the loving kindness and compassion is object is same. I think all the living being. Okay, that is just object. Then concept is a different. Loving kindness is focusing on happiness. Then compassion is focusing on suffering. Okay, so through that, then we can just think about, yeah. So then said, if we, really want practice a genuine compassion, then it's so important to knowing the all living beings are, living beings suffering actually. Yeah. So knowing that all the living beings are suffering, then after that you can, practice, or you can generate a genuine, compassion. Of course, we can focus on one sentient, one person, or two person, or three person, It's also okay. But when we talk about the generating compassion, is actually the more than that, Of course, but it's difficult to compassionate to all living being. So we can start from who is your closest one. Okay? So then you can, that practice, you can spread or expand 1 to 3, 3 to 4, like that. Is it? So, yeah, I think in like that way, then we can practice, okay? So first beginning, it's difficult, generate that kind of mind to all living being, It's difficult, but we can try again, then it's possible, Then there is nothing, impossible. Everything is possible if we can train or learn and then meditate again, then get used to it. Once we get used to it, then everything's, easy to practice, bring it into practice, okay? Whether you are at home or at place like, this temple, once we get Karze, the very familiar with those practices, then it's easy to do, wherever you go actually. Okay? Yeah. It's okay. Any question?
Khenpo, thank you. So in thinking about the poisons, hatred, that seems pretty easy to identify, we're reactive, we're angry. Greed or desire, I want, we're all familiar with that. I'm wondering about pride and why is, at least for me, why does pride seem so much more difficult to identify in oneself? Is it because we don't get the self less? Is it because it's so pervasive that we believe that we're a self, that pride is so much more difficult to pick up on?
Yeah.
Is that a coherent question?
Yeah, pride. Pride, in one way, we can, understand, like in this. I think sometimes, of course, we are just a human being, we always thinking of ourselves first, okay? That is come from, you are putting yourself before then other living beings, because you are giving more importance yourself than others. That is, we can think about one kind of pride.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there is actually many different pride. Okay, in text they said it's a 7 different, prides. So those 7 different prides are really almost same, but very slightly different. Okay, but in general, when we talk about the pride, which means you are, giving more important yourself than others. That is, common. In general, you can say like that. Okay? Then, of course, sometimes we can say, oh, he or she is, lower than me. Whether it's a complexion or position or looking good or bad, whatever, or caste. Sometimes we say like that way, okay? So you are kind of looking down. So this is, yeah. So pride is really sometimes, difficult, okay? Yeah. So when say I is also considered as a pride, So then I is not really make sense, If someone says I, then that why this is pride, is it? But there is some reason why when we say I, that I consider as pride. Okay, so it's a say some text, because you are giving so important yourself because you're thinking you are the, whatever, you know.
You are I.
Yeah, you want actually, okay, like something kasa, to get something, or want some, what do we call, famous, fame. Okay, sometimes they call fames like that. You want all kind of those. Yeah, to ngaja, ngao nyamba. Dancing also, dancing, which means what means? Holding self is also a pride.
Is also what?
Pride.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't get that. What is the-
Holding I,
Uh-huh.
holding self,
Right.
is it?
Holding self.
Is also pride. Pride or bride?
Pride.
Pride.
Same like holding concept of self
Yeah,
is pride.
yeah. Because in pride, you can find different brides. In that, is holding I is one. Okay. Tani ngembe ngaja. Yeah, also I. There's 7 different I, 7 different pride. I mean, yeah. So ngaja is also, of course, yeah. Sometimes it's difficult to understand, you know. But you can think like that, okay? You are, in general, the normal beings always putting, ourselves before than others because we are giving more importance than others. So you can say like that.
So Khenpo, is the antidote practicing humility, or is it trying to get straight to there is no I?
Yeah, there's many different antidote. They said one is, of course, to knowing the selflessness, okay, emptiness. Of course, that is the main, antidote. But in other way, you can, in the text, there's so many, saying this word, humble character, okay, which means mensa zung. That is also, the opposite, okay? Opposite what I taught before. You are giving yourself is so important than others. This one is giving more important others than yourself. This is one of, antidote. Okay? You push others before than you, okay? That is the, humble character, they said actually. Or humble position. Sometimes they translate it like that. In Tibetan, mensa zung, which means, yeah, yourself actually put lower and others put higher than you. Yeah. This is also, kind of practice. Yeah, every way, this is a problem, no one want, of course, if there's something bad situations, then of course everyone want, yourself a little bit back up, then others, let them go first. But if there is a good situations, then yeah, we all want to, catch up number one on that place. Yeah. So this is one of, or kind of practice to remove, pride. Yeah. So that's say means zongbo, which means one of the qualities of, uh, spiritual teacher or spiritual students, both sides, which means loving kindness. Teachers should be to have that kind of loving kindness towards students. Then also students also, need kasa respect or kasa sometimes we can say respect or gushap. I don't know. We can say respect to your teacher. Okay. Yeah. There's, I think, many we can practice. Okay, to remove kasa pride. Yeah. So then also, if we don't think I'm the most, handsome in this country. If we think like that way, then that is, a big, pride, pride or what? Yeah, pride. If we think I'm the, ugliest person in the country, that this is one of practice. Yeah. So there's so many ways, to think about, like that. Yeah. Or if someone think like that, I'm the most powerful or most handsome, but that mindset or that situation is not going to stay, forever, actually. Whether 1 day or 2 days or 1 month or 2 years, 2 years, 3 years will be, disappear. Yeah. So then after that, then of course we are, they said people's, conceptual thoughts, it's never end, Yeah. After one finish, then next is second thoughts that come. Second thoughts are more worse than before. Yeah, because like us, human beings never satisfy what we have, the moment, Yeah, that's why the Hinayana practice, why they are not taking, not keeping too much things. Like in the Vinaya, actually, monks cannot keep extra robes, actually. Yeah, so only you can keep if that right moment, if I'm wearing something, that robes or cloth is, something kasa, something whole, big holes, or kind of like that, So then you can ask to those sponsor or to your family. And otherwise, you can't actually keep, So that's the way those, the kasa, the peace walker, they actually don't accept the money, anything, because they cannot actually take money or anything, from others. Only the, some food, some drinks, whatever, those donors, those sponsors give, whether it's wage or non-wage, So said in the Vinaya, you can't actually decide what you want to eat or what you want to wear. The sponsors, if they wish to offer you some, many varieties, foods, like in the party, or they have only one, like rice, you have to accept both. So you cannot choose, I want this, I don't want this. So this is the, rules of Vinaya. Yeah, this is one of, practice which we can reduce desire on desire to other things. Money or dress or house or whatever. Okay, one practice. If someone has that kind of, limited desire, then they said that person is scholar or wiser. Okay? So that's just the reason. So normal people, everything we want, whatever, we see on the street, good things, okay? On the shop, in the shop, nice car, nice dress, nice shoes. When we saw, we want those, everything. We wish, oh, one day, have this, that. This is the one big desire. Yeah. Any other question?
Go back to the beginning, when you talk about seeking a spiritual teacher. You talk about three qualities. One is being scholarly, or be a scholar. Second one is discipline, and the third one is qualities. And I just want to be sure I understand the word discipline, because I think it's Sotrim. Is it
Yeah, Tsuchim
Sotrim in
or Damba.
in America, I think the word discipline sometimes means like, oh, you bad boy in school, then they discipline the boy to say, okay, you have to be punished. So that's, sometimes we hear it as, bad person, I'm gonna discipline you, you have to stay at school for another 3 hours or something like that. But in terms of spiritual teacher, when you talk about discipline, I'm trying to understand, like a realized teacher, does discipline mean like giving bodhicitta without taking a vacation, without taking a break? Always.
Yeah. This is one of course, this is also, because when they said bodhisattva vow, once the person took or take vows of bodhisattvas, then from that day to till the achieve Buddhahood, even you cannot think a single moment thinking yourself. If you think a single moment yourself, then you are blocking your vows, actually. It's so difficult. So that's why Hinayana, Bodhisattva vows, Tantric vows. So which is the easiest to keep vow? Then they said Hinayana, of course, it's very difficult to keep all the vows, you know. But compared to Bodhisattva, is more easy. Okay, then Bodhisattva vows is more easy than tantric vows. Tantric vow is the most, difficult. You know, even the Bodhisattva, sometimes you can think enemies. Okay, or look, this place is not nice, or that place is nice. Okay, or this food is not good, like kind of like that. We can think, but when comes tantric yana or tantric vows, even you cannot think actually a single moment this place is good or bad. You have to, the vision, your mind always have to see a pure view in everything actually. Okay, even when we saw dogs or pigs or goats, we need to see all these pigs and dogs and those God, or not God, but we don't use that much. But we have to see those are bodhisattva. Yeah, it's difficult, If you think when we see a dog, if you think, this is a dog, that means you already broke your vows, actually. So that's why they said, when it comes to tantric vows, then you are the Karze, Patrul Rinpoche said, like offenses, Nyepa? Offense, offenses, or fault. You can say fault, like, raining. When it comes to tantric vows, that means it's more difficult, to keep vows. Yeah. So that's why if someone is continuously doing good things for the benefit of other living beings, that means that person is, kept vows. Okay? Very nicely. Yeah. Then that person is, we can say, bodhisattva. Someone who has that kind of, determination, or, he or she putting more effort on that. Yeah, that means, yeah. Okay?
So that's discipline.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Discipline is actually very important, in a, in worldly system or Dharma system. It's really important. Discipline is someone thinking, actually, when we talk about discipline, then some say this discipline is so, how to say, so irritating. It makes me feel sad or feel uncomfortable. Actually, that is actually not real discipline. Rules or whatever we call. Yeah, discipline means that discipline make your person is better and better, actually. Is it? Yeah, rules and regulations. Okay, if countries like, USA, if there is no constitution, then what happened? What will happen? Yeah, everywhere, chaos and problems, more problem than right now. Yeah, because this constitution or rules or regulations are kept, and more peace. Is it? Yeah. So it's important, to think. Discipline means, yeah, kind of, part, okay? Yeah, don't think, irritating.
It's pride.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, people think like that way, Okay, thank you. Okay. Kunchudiyana, born in Poland, had a lotus, endowed with the most marvelous spiritual intent. You who renowned as the lotus born, surrounded by the return of many darkness, following in your footsteps, I pray to you, please Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Benzang Guru Bema Siddhi Hum.
If thou arms the 1,000 universal monarchs, if thousand eyes the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate age, you who teach each and every one of us according to our needs,
Lord Avalokiteshvaraya, to you I pay homage. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Omani bime 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 omani Mani padme hum, mani padme hum.
Oh, Mani
Padme hum, j'ai
by this virtue,
may I swiftly accomplish the state of Chenrezig, and may all sentient beings without exception be placed in that very state. Let us therefore, all sentient beings be free of suffering. May the mind be filled with nature richer. In this way, may all causes resulting in suffering being extinguished, and the only delight of compassion shining throughout all realms. Thank you.
Khenpo gave us a lot to contemplate and meditate. A couple of things I wanted to mention. As you probably noticed, KBC is a very big place, 72 acres. There's 65 across the street and 7 on this side of the road. And lots of opportunities for helping as a volunteer. Inside the temple, on the land, and of course, as part of our humanitarian efforts with Buddhist Relief, where we're feeding, we're helping 7 nonprofit organizations by distributing close to 8 tons of food every month. And so it's a lot to do, and we're kind of a smallish group. So we love that you're here. And you know, if you would like to find out more how you might plug in as a volunteer, there are a number of us here that can help you think about that. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that in April 11th and 12th, we have the wonderful opportunity to have Khenpo Norgay Rinpoche here for 2 days, and he's going to be giving empowerments, and those empowerments allow us to engage in preliminary practices on the path, Nundra practices. So they're very important, and it's a rare opportunity anywhere, but we're very fortunate to have it happen here. He is a wonderful teacher. After the empowerments, there'll be explanations. He'll go into depth on those empowerments, what they mean and what they permit us to do. So I hope everybody, and if you've had these empowerments before, it's always a blessing to take the empowerments again, to renew our samaya with our practices. So, and so also, we have baskets at the door. It's traditional tea offerings for when you hear the teachings, the Buddhist teachings. And also, one more thing, we invite you to stay afterwards, and we have some refreshments out in the next room in our library. Our library also has books that you can take out, and suggest that you do that and enjoy those books. And our Money Jewel gift store is also open for perusing. Right? Is that true? Yes. Okay, thank you very much, and come again.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Khenpo.
Thank you, Khenpo.